Hello, this is John D. Callahan. It is June 26th, 2022 in the late afternoon, and this is a demonstration of my evaporative cooling system for my home in Henderson, Nevada. This is a Durango Bonaire evaporative cooler, window evaporative cooler, that has 5,900 cubic feet per minute, CFM. This unit is about 6 years old, and you can see it's working very well. The water's coming out here and flowing through the pads, and the pads here, and then the pads on the other side. And we don't have any leaks. The water is fed here from this bib, and then we have a drainage. You can see the drainage pipe here, and no leaks. First few years I had to take it apart every year and clean it and fine tune it, and I thought I would have to do that every year, but it turns out the last few years I have not had to take it apart. It's worked beautifully without having to fine tune it before the season, or in other words, once a year. So again, 6 years old. For the first several years, I took it apart and fine tuned it and cleaned it every year. The last few years, I haven't had to do any maintenance. Doesn't leak and works beautifully. I did have to modify the unit so that I could take it apart easily, which involved taking the screws out here and putting some silicone in here, and then I had to take the screws off and kind of modify up here a little so that I could take it apart easily. It's just sitting there by gravity right now, and there's plenty of gravity, and there's a lip here, as you can see. Unless we have a massive earthquake, it's going to sit right where it is just by gravity. And I could easily lift this part up, take the pads out, and clean everything and fine tune the pump. Now, I have two other evaporative coolers cooling the home right now. Oh, by the way, you certainly want to know this. It is 100 and there we go. It's about 110 degrees. We'll say it's at about 108, so we'll say 105 to 110 degrees. Outside, similarly, the humidity is about 6%, maybe 5 to 10. We'll call it 5 to 10%, just as an approximation. And quite warm. This is another evaporative cooler I have. Now, it is from the inside, and you'll see the setup when we go inside in a minute. The air comes in here, and the pads are right here, kind of goes in here, and the pads are here, and we'll take a look at it in a minute. Here is the water hose that's feeding the unit its water, and you can see I have it in pretty good shape, no leaks, and I have an alternative to use a hose there. These two tubes are to siphon water. There are water leaks, and these tubes siphon. This one in particular is kind of ancillary tube that I can use when I drain the unit at the end of the summer, and I also use it with my emergency cooler, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. So I have another unit on the other side of the house in another room that has a very similar setup. So let's walk inside the home and we'll take a look at how well it's cooling. You can go online and look at theoretical predictions for the parameters I just gave. And if we look, we'll see that the air coming out of the unit is 73 degrees, and with a humidity of 57%. So once again, 73 degrees temperature and humidity of 57 degrees. This is the unit. Again, it's a Bonaire, Durango Bonaire, 5900 CFM unit. There you can see the unit. And each one of my evaporative coolers is controlled by one of these fabulous little gizmos, which it's the fabulous little gizmo that's a thermostat. That's just a plug-in thermostat. And you can see it's set at 69 degrees and it's reading 83 degrees. This one tends to read a little high, and all these numbers kind of approximations and depending on the instrument reading it. So this is a great little unit. You can get this at Home Depot. It's a Lux something or other, and it's again a little thermostat, just a plug-in thermostat. So again, each one of the evaporative coolers you are going to see is run by one of these. Now, if we look at the temperature in the home, we'll see that it's slightly warmer than the air coming out of the evaporative cooler. It's 77 degrees in the home. And that has pretty much translated throughout the house. This is the evaporative cooler that I was just showing you. This is a Honeywell CO60 PM evaporative cooler from Honeywell. And it's a very nice unit. And it's 2700 CFM. Now, here you can see the water coming in. I wouldn't recommend this, and if you need to do it, you need to be extremely careful. Only use a brand new hose. By the way, I got this hose at Home Depot. It's a 25-foot high-grade, professional high-grade 25-foot hose that's also drinking water safe. So it's actually the perfect hose. So I would only hook it up when it's brand new. Use plumber's tape and get a good seal, get it hand tight, and then a little more than hand tight, but again, be very careful not to break it. But I wouldn't recommend this. I'm not recommending it to you, but if you do this, be extremely cautious, obviously. And again, I don't recommend it. I'm probably taking an unnecessary chance, but I've got a good seal here, excellent hose, and it doesn't leak. Now the unit itself over time, this unit's about 10 years old. The unit over time will leak. So you can see some of the water that's leaked. This is just a storage bin that I got in for very inexpensively, and I have it contained within this and the water will accumulate. You can see it's accumulating there, and then I just use my siphon that I described. I have a tube down, which I can then use to siphon off the water. The other tube I use to siphon, when I mothball this, I use the other tube to siphon off the water. I take this pad off, siphon off the water, and dry it, and then put this pad on. It's pretty easy because I just kind of slide it out and do that. And that allows me to mothball them for the winter. And again, this is controlled by one of those neat plug-in thermostats. And also you can see the temperature here. This is essentially the same temperature as the other unit within the margin of error. It's the same temperature. It's 75 degrees and humidity 72%, but it's quite comfortable. This unit, this is my emergency cooler. Very rarely the humidity and temperature will get up such that I can't cool it down in the home, and that is extremely rare. Far less than 1%, just maybe a third of 1%, maybe once or twice a year, if that. I will use this emergency cooler. It's got some fans here. I have a video actually on it, and then I just fill this up with ice, and then it blows out cool here, but I rarely need to use it. So we can see the drop in the temperature inside the home is 30 degrees. It's near 100, and it's 105 to 110 outside, and it's 75, around 75 inside, so a good 30 degrees. It's cool. It's quite comfortable and pleasant inside the house. You can see similarly, you can see that you can see we have a 77 degree temperature here, and go in here. This other room, this is my third, so I just have three, and this is another Honeywell CFM 2700 CFM CO60 PM Honeywell evaporative cooler. Very similar setup, and you can probably see the you can see the siphon tubes a little better. Again, this one siphons the water because the unit will leak over time. This is a plastic bin with the top gone, obviously, and it's worked very well. And then I use this. You see this a little better. I'll take this pad off, siphon the water out with this tube to mothball it during the winter. Here again, you can see the temperature, 75 degrees in here. Again, these are just approximate readings, but it's 75 degrees in here, and you can see got 78 degrees it's reading, and it's set at 69. And again, this is one of those very neat plug-in thermostats. Now, throughout the house, again, it's in the mid to high 70s only, except this one room. The air kind of has a little harder time filtering in here, but it's still very reasonable. It's still It's still 81 degrees with 55 degree humidity. There's my thermostat. See, it says 784 actually, and it's set at 70. And so even though it's a little warmer in here, got a fan in here to run the to cool one down a little more. With the fan at 81 degrees, it's still pretty comfortable. Could put a fan out here too to even cool it more, bring in some of the cool air. Now, the savings, which I'm sure you're quite interested in. The savings are enormous. The units save between 80 and 90% over conventional air conditioners. So, unbelievably, my electric bill during the summer is $50. That's it, $50. So when the solar people call me, I tell them, well, I really don't need solar. I use evaporative coolers. So you can see this is inside the home again. and very comfortable. So again, not 80 to 90% electric cost savings. Absolutely fabulous. So instead of 50 bucks, it would be probably 250 on the low end and probably $500 on the high end to cool this home with a conventional air conditioner. The home is 1,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms and 2 full baths. This is the master bath. This is the master bath off of the master bedroom that we were looking at previously. And again, this is walking through the home. These are the 3 bedrooms. And the 2 baths.